Of a new month. It is sunny outside right now here in the Oklahoma City area. And for this time, when they say it's sunny outside, we're enjoying the sunshine. It is wet, been wet. Took my walk this morning, and in the yard of the public school area where I walk around, there are ducks and geese out there like a lake. They were just out there because we've had so much rain. We get a day of reprieve, some more storms tonight, and then about three days that no rain. And I'm looking forward to that. But we also know that summertime's coming, and so I'm thankful for the what God's doing. Great service last night. Ended out the series on the end times, and I'm looking forward to seeing what God's going to help us to do as we continue to go forward and building the lives of people. And I'm thankful for all that He's doing. Of course, this Sunday, first Sunday of May, let's make sure that all of us are in our place and that we're doing our part. To be faithful to church, to help our churches to be stronger, because the church is only as strong as the people who are faithful. If you only have a handful of, you can have a big attendance, handful of people faithful, you still got a weak church. Help your church to be strong. How about it? Be faithful. There is no excuse. Whatever your excuse is, it's a bad one, and you know it, and it's a disobedient one, and you know it, and it's a rebellious one, and you know it. So be in church all the time, and you'll learn that once you start doing this as a regular thing, it becomes a habit, and you'll be better off for it in the long run. Well, Genesis chapter 41, verse 14, going to kind of touch a little touchy subject today about appearance mattering. In Genesis 41, verse 14, then Pharaoh sent and called Joseph, and they brought him hastily out of the dungeon. And he shaved himself and changed his raiment and came in unto Pharaoh. Joseph had been in prison for many months, several months. It seems as though while he was in prison, that he did not keep up his appearance. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. It just seems that way. Now, I can understand it because to some extent, as he thought, he would never be released from prison. However, when he was called to appear before Pharaoh, now I don't know if they told him to do this or if he just did this on his own. The Bible says that he shaved himself and changed his clothing so he looked proper as he appeared before Pharaoh, the leader of Egypt. Now, appearance does matter, my friend. We live in days when casual and sloppy seems to be in instead of being dressed up and proper, especially when we're present at church. And it results in believers living casual, sloppy, and sinful lives. Most people have no respect for church anymore. I'm amazed. They come to church dressed sloppily as if it doesn't matter. Now, I understand that many don't have much money, but not having much money is still no excuse for going to church dressed sloppily. If appearance does not matter, then why does God point out appearance so much in the scriptures? He pointed out the appearance of Solomon's servants as they served, and Joseph's appearance as he prepared to meet Pharaoh. He points out the appearance of the believers wearing white robes in heaven. Apparently, God is interested in our appearance. You don't have to be wealthy to dress right. Your appearance tells a lot about what you feel about life and your perspective on God. Some will certainly say that the only thing that really matters is the heart, and to some degree they're right. But may I also say that's not true, because the heart does affect the outside. If you're sloppy on the outside, guarantee it, your heart's not into it. Don't tell me that it is, because if your heart is right with God, your appearance in church will reflect it. Now, I want to share just a few things about what I believe will help you to keep a good appearance. First, dress with your best when you go to church. Now, whatever your best is when it comes to clothing, you ought to dress with it as you go to church, because you're going to meet with God. I want you to understand something. God is better than Pharaoh or some king, and that should cause the believer to want to be dressed properly when they go to church. Understand this. I'm a big believer in this area of that if we come before God dressed sloppily, it shows a great disrespect. Every time in the presence of God, when people came into His presence, God would say, "Take off your shoes." It was a humbling thing because they were in the presence of a holy God. And we have so much forgotten how much, get this now, that the importance of dressing right is in church. Your attire sets a mindset that you believe God is important enough to dress with your best as you go to worship Him. Second, men ought to be clean shaven. Now, I'm not saying that men should not have beards. I did not say that. But I am saying that a man ought to keep his beard groomed and shaven if he has one. I'm a person, I don't like beards. I'm not a person who, I've never liked them. It's just me, preference. But I am not against them. However, I believe now I shave every day and I make sure I look proper as a representative of Christ. And I believe that those with beards ought to do the same. You can have a beard and still keep it clean shaven and look proper and clean and groomed instead of sloppy. There's something about being dressed in front of God that you ought to make sure it looks right. Third, everyone should keep their clothing decent. Ladies should never wear dresses that are revealing, for they are not trying to sell their bodies to other men at church. At least they shouldn't be. And the scriptures are clear that ladies should dress in modest apparel. And by the way, if a lady should dress modestly, so should a man. Men should also be decent at all times, especially at church. Church is not a country club where we come to church wearing shorts to church. Dress, we're coming to meet with God. And I'm telling you, I'm tired of the sloppy dress of God's people. Act like, well, this is just we're going to the beach. You're not going to the beach, you're going to church. This little flannel shirt, blue jean style mentality of going to church and dressing down because, well, God, listen, I'm to go up to God's level, not bring God down to mine. I promise you, when God comes, He's not going to come in a flannel shirt and blue jeans. And I know I know some of you guys, you don't like what I'm saying, but it's true. Read the Bible sometime. Read the book of Revelation. Now, I'm not saying that we have to dress in robes. I am saying we ought to dress right. I'd hate to think that I go to a wedding dressed better than I go to church to meet with a holy God. Now, everyone should dress decently. Fourth, don't overpower others with your cologne and perfume. Now, this is just helpful stuff. I know this seems petty to some, but some people are very allergic to smells. And putting too much perfume and cologne on affects them. I have people in my church, literally, they have to walk out because it just starts affecting them. There's been times I've been in the pulpit. I have a sensitive nose, and I'm in the pulpit, and someone's cologne or perfume is so strong, it's choking me up in the pulpit. Now, I'm not against perfume. I'm not against cologne, but you don't have to put half the bottle on. Some never wear deodorant, which it's just offensive. No one wants to smell your underarms. I know I sound pretty petty with all this stuff, but my friend, there's nothing wrong with smelling good. Keeping your listen, a little cologne, a little perfume, a little deodorant can go a long ways in keeping yourself from smelling offensive to those around you. No one who's lost wants to hear a saved person try to witness to them when they can't even stand the smell. They're just trying to get the smell away. Now, listen to me. I'm just saying that our appearance does matter. How we dress and how our appearance and how we do our things, we ought to do it right. I tell my young men, comb your hair. I have a young man, and he's a good young man, but he was going through a little spell. He's letting his bangs hang down. And I said, comb your hair. I said, you're a man. He started combing it, and he still does. He's a good young man. I just think the sloppy dress and the sloppy hairdos and everything sloppy, it breeds to a casual Christianity. Casual Christianity allows people to go to hell because you become casual with your witness. My friend, if we're going to be a witness for Christ, dress like you represent Christ. I would hate to think the cabinet of the president dresses better when they go to meet with the president than God's people do when they go to church. Appearance does matter. Dress up, comb your hair, iron your shirt, polish your shoes, be decent. Hey, groom yourself. Make sure you're right, and your smell is not offensive to others. You say, why? We're going before a holy God. I want God. And I know some people say, well, Brother Donald, you're OCD. My wife, and she irons my hankies for me because years ago, before I was even married, those hankies I use to wipe the sweat when I'm preaching. I'd iron every hanky. You say, why? Because I'm going to preach for a holy God, and I don't want to have some little look like I blowed my nose in it about 5 years ago, and it's brown and looks nasty, and I'm wiping myself. People out there watching this, hey, I represent a holy God. That's why when I come into the office, I'm dressed right. And you ought to dress right too. You represent a God. You're meeting with God. Let's be representatives of God. That everywhere we go, we look sharp. We're dressed sharp. People know there's a difference about us. There's something about the appearance of a man and a woman dressing right that people say something different about them. They'll listen to you. They'll listen to you. When I go soul winning dressed just like this. You've seen pictures of me. My friend, you say, why don't you just go casual? People will listen to you. I promise you. I promise you. I probably see more saved than those who dress casually. Don't tell me that you have to dress down to be able to witness to people. I lead people to Christ every week. This week alone, I think I've led 3 or 4 people to Christ this week alone. So don't tell me that you have to dress down. Dress sharp. You represent God. I'm representing the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, and I want people to know when I'm talking about Him. I want them to know I'm representing a God that's worthy of dressing right. And when you do that, my friend, you'll be surprised how people will listen to you and respect you a whole lot more because you're dressed right. Appearance matters. It matters to your spirit, it matters to your God, and it matters how well others see what you think about what you are doing. Well, I hope this is a help and a challenge to you today. Now, let's remember today, be good to